Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge. And today we're going to be doing something we haven't done in a while, comic books. I haven't talked about comic books in forever. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, hold up, Rouga, I saw the thumbnail. It's not just comic books, there's manga in there too. Then I would say, yeah, that's what manga means. It means Japanese comic book. Stop being a fucking weeb. But we're also going to change up a couple other little details. Going to make it a bit different than usual. Normally I take a character and I put him into a situation in another universe and see if he could survive. This time, I'm taking the situation and I'm putting the situation not really to see if a single character can survive, but more so if an entire planet can. So I'm going to take the entire Viltrumite army, all of their forces, and see if these planets can survive an invasion from that army. And maybe while doing this, we'll come up with some interesting scenarios with different characters getting involved and whatnot, but for the most part, it's about the planet and how the planet will do to survive this oncoming threat. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. But I wasted enough of your time. Let's get started. Y'all know the drill by now. We gotta go over what the actual challenge is and talk about what exactly our survivors can expect when they come face to face with the Viltrumite army. And luckily for me, is pretty simple. I mean, the Viltrumites are pretty straightforward. They're basically like Spartan Superman space fascists, sort of, if I had to put it into words. They're an army of planetary conquerors with a massive superiority complex who believe themselves to be the perfect beings with a perfect society that need to bless the entire world by sharing their society to everyone else through the use of force and ultraviolence. And their powers and abilities are pretty simple. You ever seen like anything Superman related or any Superman ripoff character? Okay, that's the powers, but then take out all the special, like, cool stuff. No freeze breath, no lasers, no matter manipulation, none of that shit. They can fly real fast, hit real hard. They can be in space for a long time. They can travel between planets via flights. At one point, 3 of them came together and flew through a fucking planet and blew it up. While it was said that this planet was significantly larger than Earth, they don't actually say how much larger. Like, was it the size of Jupiter? Was it the size of the sun? We don't fucking know. We just know it was bigger, and it took 3 people flying through it at full speed to blow it up. But that's like the high-end Viltrumites. That's your Thrags, your Omni-Men, your Conquests. When you go to the lower end, they don't come anywhere near that. In fact, like, the strongest Viltrumites there are can take out small armies of other Viltrumites. We don't quite know how weak they get, like what is the bare minimum of weakness. We just know it's nowhere near that, and especially towards the end of the comic book run, Viltrumites start dropping like fucking flies, and the people that they start dropping to are not planet busters. There is a significant difference between different Viltrumites and the amount of power each one has. And honestly, I think that's all there really is to talk about. Like I said, these aren't particularly complicated people. The Viltrumite's gonna show up, they're gonna want to take over the planet. If the planet says no, they're gonna start slaughtering people until it says yes, and if it never says yes, they're just gonna kill everybody and move on to the next planet. That's how the Viltrumites do things. It's a super simple process. There isn't really some deep form of introspection that I can do to it. It just sort of is what it is, you know? Now let's get on to the survivors. First up on the chopping block, we have the planet of Skaar from Marvel. Remember the movie Thor Ragnarok, that planet that Hulk was trapped on for a couple of years, and Thor showed up and they fought in the arena and all that? Yeah, that planet? Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. I don't know what the fuck that was, but that wasn't Skaar. We're talking about the war-torn planet Skaar from the comics, the place that Hulk's son Skaar was born at, the Skaar that didn't have a fucking man bun like he did in She-Hulk. God, these fucking movies suck now. Is it just me, or is a man bun the international sign that that poor dude has had every drop of testosterone sucked out of his fucking body? Why does Hollywood keep giving this to people? How many people actually have this horrible fucking haircut? It's sort of like when they gave every woman like a half-shaved head, which was a clear indicator that she was a bitch. And that thing they're doing now with black guys where they have the like sort of dreads but sort of not dreads. They're on the top of their heads but also kind of off to the side. That is an indication that they're black guys, I guess. Tell me the truth, black guys. Was this fucking god-awful hairstyle y'all's idea? I mean, to me, this just screams at some liberal white woman just like Lego snapped it on the top of some black dude's head in a movie, and now all of a sudden it's just blown the fuck up. Because I'll be honest with you, this is pretty gay looking. Where the fuck did dreads and cornrows go? Those are perfectly fine hairstyles. What the fuck is this? I feel like these are gonna be the Jerry curls of the current generation. 20, 30 years from now, y'all are gonna be looking back on that hairstyle and just saying, Jesus Christ, the fuck were we thinking? What was I talking about? Right, Skaar. In the comics, Skaar is a very different place than it is in the movie. It is a war-torn planet of a bunch of rivaling species and races. They're all vying for control, and they're all very tribalistic, and basically everybody is a fucking warrior across the whole planet. And the planet is ruled over by this psychotic dictator known as the Red King, who likes burning people alive and enslaved an entire race of life-sucking aliens to force them to do his bidding and send them upon his enemies. And it's very violent, it's very awful, and nobody wants to fucking live there. It's terrible. And it just so happens to be the planet that several Marvel stories take place on, including, and most famously, Planet Hulk. So what were to happen if the Viltrumites were to show up at this world-like planet with the specific intentions of taking it over and ruling it? What exactly would happen? Well, that depends entirely on what point in the timeline they show up. If they show up prior to Hulk getting there, when the Red King is in control and all these different factions are at war with one another and all that shit, it's gonna be super easy. The fact of the matter is that the actual residents of Skaar before Hulks and shit start showing up are not actually all that powerful. The absolute most powerful being on the planet other than a Hulk is a man by the name of Axeman Bone. We know this for a fact because they literally say that there's sort of like this group of aliens called the Red People. I forgot what their names are, but they're the Red Aliens. Once in a generation, one of them is born that is significantly stronger than all others. They're born with basically like pure blood. Like it's a rarity in their genetics. And Axeman Bone was born with this. This makes him significantly more powerful than anybody else on the entire planet. He's so powerful that despite being loyal to the Red King sent him away to go fight on the front lines of war way far away from him because the Red King is such an insecure piece of shit that he didn't like the fact that there was someone in his vicinity that would constantly remind him that he's actually not all that powerful. There's literally nothing the Red King can do to overtake Axeman Bone, despite the fact the Red King fights using a fucking giant mech. And even he knew that Axeman Bone was far too powerful for him to ever overcome. So the question then becomes, how powerful is Axeman Bone? Nowhere near powerful enough. It's stated in one of the Marvel encyclopedias that Axeman Bone is strong enough to lift 50,000 tons. Which is a whole lot of weight. Doesn't really come anywhere close to flying through fucking planets, though. Doesn't even really come close to flying through a city, to be honest with you. 50,000 tons is not that much in the grand scheme of things, especially when you're comparing it to the power of your average Viltrumite. This means that the absolute strongest, most legendary being on all of Skaar wouldn't be strong enough to take on even like high mid-tier fucking Viltrumites. Like this would be a very one-sided fight. The only thing that they may be able to do is possibly use the spikes against them. So the spikes are that alien that was enslaved that I talked about. They take the form of these little balls of spikes that he shoots over a particular area, and it rains down these little sharp spikes. When the spikes hit, they dig into the skin and then start taking over the person who they dug into and turning them into basically these mindless, destructive zombies. These spikes are so ungodly powerful that they were able to dig into the skin of the Hulk. And the only reason why they couldn't take him over completely is because his regen essentially fought against them and sort of repelled them from his system, but they were able to get inside his body. Viltrumites don't have regen like this, so if the spikes hit him, there's really no doubt in my mind that they'll be able to go inside his system and take them over. And if they do take them over, you will then have an army of Viltrumite spike people that basically nobody can stop. They'll fight against the other Viltrumites and likely infect more of them, but also the Red King's way of getting rid of the spike infected people, which is usually just setting them on fire, isn't going to work on the Viltrumites since the Viltrumites are, well, fireproof. You can't kill a Viltrumite with fire. So if the Red King was dumb enough to actually use the spikes on the Viltrumites, he will create essentially an unstoppable zombie virus that would only really be able to be stopped by the Viltrumites. The only other thing I can think of that the Red King can do is using the obedience discs. So there's also this thing in the comic he does where he shoots someone with an obedience disc. It straps their chest and then controls their thoughts and all this different kind of stuff. We don't really know exactly how it works. We just know that if they don't listen to whatever is told to them, their brain gets fucking destroyed. And this is something that's powerful enough that it was able to work on the Hulk. It was tied to the Hulk's chest and Hulk couldn't get it off. So that in of itself is pretty damn impressive. And again, I think they would likely work on the Viltrumites. So if the Red King would be able to shoot a bunch of Viltrumites with this disc, they can then turn those Viltrumites against the other Viltrumites and again cause a civil war. But basically, no matter which way you slice it, the only way the Red King is going to be able to overcome the Viltrumites is if he gets other Viltrumites to fight against the Viltrumites, because there's nothing on his planet that can actually overcome them himself. And the problem with this is I don't think he's going to be able to get the disc or the spikes to really do a whole lot to the absolute strongest Viltrumites who are like planet busters and shit. So even the Viltrumites Viltrumites that they will be able to infect or control are going to be Viltrumites that are going to be one-shotted by the strongest Viltrumites. So I really don't think this is going to help them all that much. It's cool that they'll be able to fight back to some degree, but it's going to be a wash. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could just get a couple of Viltrumites and just fly through and destroy the entire planet. And there's absolutely nothing anybody on the planet can do to stop them. So the next question you would ask, well, okay, where on the timeline could the Viltrumites invade where Skaar actually does stand a chance? And there's really only one, maybe two. So if the Viltrumites invade when Hulk gets to the planet of Skaar and takes it over as its king, I still think there's a really good chance Skaar will not be able to survive, mainly because the entire time Hulk was on Skaar, he was severely weakened. This is a very large part of the story, that when he flew through the black hole and landed on the planet, he was weakened and couldn't use his full power. And he's really not shown being able to use his full power until he leaves Skaar and gets back to Earth. It's arguable that once Hulk became king, he actually was at full power, but we never really see him use his full power at that state, so you can't really say it as a fact. You can just sort of theorize that he might have been. If he was, maybe he might be able to do something. The strongest feat that we see him do on Skaar is holding two continental plates together, which is impressive, and it means that Hulk will be able to kill a lot of the low tier and even mid tier Viltrumites, but it really shouldn't compare when you're talking about the absolute strongest of the Viltrumites, and Hulk just shouldn't really be able to compete at this point in the story, at least not until World War Hulk happens and he gets all of his power back. But, you know, once World War Hulk happens and he gets all his power back, he's not on Skaar anymore, so it's not relevant. So what are the 2 points in Skaar's history where they will be able to fight back? Well, the first one is when Red Hulk goes to Skaar. So a lot of people think that Red Hulk is like a piece of shit and he's really, really weak. Not real. I mean, he is, but that's only because of like story shit. So originally when Red Hulk was introduced, he was actually stupidly fucking powerful. He was stated on multiple occasions to be the absolute strongest being on Earth, even stronger than Thor and Sentry and a bunch of other characters. And the reason why that is because he had the power initially to absorb any form of energy and increase his power. And that power increase was not temporary. It became permanent power that he just had all the time at that point. And when I say he can absorb any energy, I mean literally any energy. At one point when he was fighting MODOK, he absorbs MODOK's brain waves, like the energy that exists within his brain that makes the synapses fire, that he was able to absorb like mind power. Just to be clear, MODOK's not a psychic. He's not like Professor X. He doesn't have like mental abilities. He's just a really smart guy. Red Hulk has been shown absorbing lasers, fire, the power cosmic. At one point, he beat the living shit out of Silver Surfer by absorbing all of the power cosmic out of his body, and then eventually going out and challenging Galactus. He is stupidly fucking powerful when he was initially introduced. Eventually, Bruce Banner removed all the energy from his body, and that told him that there is a serious penalty to using this power absorption ability, which is basically, if you absorb too much power, you will either lose the Red Hulk form and never be able to become Red Hulk again, or you will lose the Thaddeus Ross form and you'll be stuck in the Red Hulk form. Bruce Banner told him he wasn't sure which one would happen, but one of them would happen. Thaddeus Ross, from that point on, decided to never absorb energy anymore because he doesn't want to lose any of his forms. He doesn't want to never be Thaddeus Ross again. He doesn't want to never be Red Hulk again. He still has that energy absorption power, but he just refuses to use it. But I can definitely see a scenario where the Viltrumites show up at Skaar and are going to kill everyone and take over the planet, and Thaddeus says, well, fuck it, we're going to die anyway. I might as well start absorbing energies again. And then he becomes so fucking powerful that none of the Viltrumites can actually fight him. And that'll be really easy to do, given that the old power exists within the planet of Skaar, which is a power that is stated to rival the power cosmic, the thing that Galactus uses. And if the Red Hulk wanted to, he can just absorb that and become so ungodly powerful that he can match cosmic beings, and then he would slaughter the entire army by himself. They wouldn't even really be able to damage him. That's one possible outcome. The other possible outcome where Skaar can actually win is when Hero Kala shows up. Hero Kala is the second son of Hulk. Hulk had 2 sons on Skaar. He had Skaar and he had Hero Kala. They were both twins. Where Skaar became way more like his father, he was like a little gray kid that can transform into this big ass buff Hulk and fuck people up. Hero Kala became far more like his mother. He doesn't even have a Hulk form, but he got an insane connection to the old power, kind of like how his mother did. The only difference is it's way, way stronger. He was able to easily take over the entire planet. They basically started worshiping him as a god. When Galactus showed up to take the old power to feed himself, because it is stated that if Galactus were to eat Skaar, the power of the old power would sustain him for 100,000 years. Hero Kala allowed him to begin feeding and then gave him just a hint of old power and then used that old power inside of his body to cause him a massive amount of pain. And it was stated in the story that this was the first time Galactus had ever felt pain in the entire history of his existence, and then Galactus just said, okay, fuck it, this ain't worth it, and he just left. And that was how Hero Kala got him to stop trying to eat Skaar. He then takes the whole planet, brings it out of orbit, and then sends it shooting across the galaxy to go after Earth because he wants to kill his father. It takes the entirety of the Hulk family together, plus making a deal with something called the World Mind and a bunch of godlike beings in order to stop Hero Kala. And even then, they can't kill him. They just have to seal him with mysticism in the center of the planet. He's not actually dead. And when I say it takes the whole Hulk family, I mean Hulk, Skaar, Red She-Hulk, Rick Jones, all of them. Every single member of the Hulk family, and all of them combined were not capable of taking on Hero Kala. So, if the Viltrumites show up to Skaar and the tyrant and super fucked up evil dude Hero Kala is there, he'll wipe out the whole fucking army by himself. There's nothing they can do about it. And he will dance upon their graves with that, like, Michael Jackson moonwalk thing. Super, super easy, not even going to be a problem for him. So in summary, most of the time Skaar would lose against the Viltrumites, but there's specifically 2 instances where it's possible for Skaar to win, and 1 instance where Skaar just straight up can't lose. Next up on the list, we have the One Piece world, which I have to call the One Piece world because we don't have a name of the planet, because Oda hasn't told us the name of the planet for some reason. We know it's a different planet. It's clearly a different planet. The fucking thing's got like 12 moons. But no, we gotta keep calling it the One Piece world, I guess. So what can I tell you about the One Piece world? So much stuff, and I'm not gonna do it. Look, all you gotta know is it's a comic book about cartoon pirates who sail around looking for this ultimate treasure that we don't know what it is, and they have a bunch of crazy fucking superpowers. Sometimes those superpowers are related to a devil fruit, which also takes away your ability to swim, which really sucks because you're a fucking pirate. And sometimes those superpowers come from totally other things that have absolutely nothing to do with devil fruits, basically making the devil fruits fucking pointless. Because if you got something like hockey or amazing sword skills or martial arts skills, it basically makes you just as strong as the dudes who have the superpowers. And if you're thinking to yourself, is this motherfucker Rouga gonna keep calling this shit stuff like comic book and cartoon instead of their proper naming? Yes, I am. Because it annoys you. So when the Viltrumites arrive to the One Piece world, are they going to be able to take it over? Yeah, super fucking easily. No one's gonna be able to fight back, almost at all. They're going to fucking completely brutalize. Look, okay, so there are some people that I think might be able to fight back, right? The absolute strongest characters in One Piece will probably be able to fight back against the low tier, possibly even mid-tier Viltrumites, maybe. You also have other certain special individuals whose devil fruit powers are so like weird and wacky and hacks-like that they may actually be able to do some damage to Viltrumites because they can completely bypass the whole fisticuffs part of the fight. Characters like Sugar, who could touch somebody and just turn them into a doll that loses all their power. Or that bitch who can paint shit on people and then she can like control what they do via paint. And other characters like that have a bunch of hacksy shit. The problem is, a lot of those characters have hacksy shit like aren't physically very powerful, you know? It's like, it's the series way of not making any character too broken. Like Sugar is a small child and she's never gonna grow up. She's gonna remain a small child her entire life. That's a part of the curse of the devil fruit. So would Sugar even be able to go up to any Viltrumite and touch him and turn him into a doll? No, she's a fucking child, and Viltrumites are, you know, country chuckers. Like someone who could chuck a country. Then you have the Logia devil fruit users who can actually turn into an element to avoid damage. They're gonna for sure be able to avoid being murder raped, but they're not gonna be able to do much to the actual Viltrumites. I mean, the absolute strongest of the Logia users is stated in the SBSs, that's like the Q&As that Oda does, to be Akainu, who is the fleet admiral of the Marines, and his power is that he can turn into magma and like put magma fists through people. Oda says that he has the highest offensive ability out of any devil fruit user. That's not really saying much because like the Viltrumites can straight up just swim in magma if they wanted to. It would be like a cool little hot springs bath kind of thing. Magma's not all that dangerous to them. Like you literally have millions and millions of worlds who are all trying to figure out ways that they can kill the Viltrumites. If it was as simple as just sprinkling some magma on them, they would have figured that shit out by now. In the series, Earth gets a little bit of Omni-Man's blood blood and tries everything they possibly can do to destroy it. And the smartest scientists of Earth straight up say, the DNA of a Viltrumite does not care about anything we do to it. We do not know how to destroy it. I feel like for sure at some point they would have tried extreme heats. This means that the highest offensive ability that even exists in the world should not be able to damage the Viltrumites. The only other option that I could see that One Piece has is hockey abilities, but I really don't feel like that would help them all that much either. Observation hockey would probably be the most useful since you could predict what your opponent's going to do before they do it, and sometimes that prediction is several minutes in the future, which again, super helpful. But I don't really think the other two are going to do a whole lot. I don't think that armament hockey, being able to cover yourself in an armor, or being able to cover your weapons and attacks in like a sort of attack increase type armor stuff, it's hard to explain. It's this black shit, you put it over your fist, you punch people, your punches do more damage. You can also do it with swords and shit, and sometimes you have almost like a force push kind of thing. Armament hockey can be used offensively and defensively. Problem is, it doesn't matter how much you're increasing it when you're going up against characters who could fly through fucking planets. Nothing like that exists in the One Piece world. There's a lot of wankers out there who like to say they do, but they don't have any evidence for that. I mean, the closest thing we have is it's stated that Whitebeard's power can destroy the world, but we don't know how. We don't know how long this would take. We don't know what he means by destroy the world. Like, if it took him 10 years going around doing earthquakes all over the place, yeah, that would count as destroying the world. Even though the world's still there, still intact, and it took forever for him to fucking do it. Outside of that, the most we've seen is characters like blow up mountains and shit, which is cool, but it doesn't come anywhere near the higher ends of the Viltrumites. The only other hockey ability they have is Conqueror's Hockey, which is essentially being able to use your willpower to overcome the will of others and knock them out. The problem with that is that how Oda explains Conqueror's Hockey is that you can essentially knock out anybody who is not worthy of fighting you. This is how he describes it in the SBS. So willpower doesn't actually really matter all that much. If Shank shows up, who has a very high level of willpower, and tries to knock out a bunch of Viltrumites, if all those Viltrumites are physically strong enough to overcome him, his hockey's not going to knock them out either way. And I know people are going to argue against this and say, no, it's all willpower based, but it's really not shown to be all willpower based in the actual comic. You have to have very high willpower in order to unlock Conqueror's Hockey and use that ability. But if that was the case, that it's all willpower based, then anyone who has Conqueror's Hockey would be able to knock out anyone who doesn't. But that's not the case. We see constantly where Conqueror's Hockey users do not knock out non-Conqueror's Hockey users. But the fact they have Conqueror's Hockey means that they have more willpower than that person. So why didn't that other person get knocked out? The only reason you can give that person didn't get knocked out is because it's not based on willpower. And Oda, the writer of the story's explanation for it, is that it's because he's worthy of a fight with that person who has Conqueror's Hockey. I really don't see very many One Piece characters being able to use this to knock out that many Viltrumites, if any at all, since even the weakest Viltrumites are going to be like mid-high tier One Piece characters. Like, you could take a very low tier Viltrumite and chuck him at the One Piece world and have him become a pirate, and he'll get super fucking far, easily get to the new world. Likely even get as far as to becoming a Yonko commander or some shit in very little time at all. So really, I probably should have put One Piece first on this list, since at least Skaar has a chance of overcoming depending on the time period. One Piece really doesn't have a chance no matter what. The only reason why it's ahead of it is because there are so many different characters with so many different devil fruit powers that maybe they could pull something off. It's also even possible that some of these people might live even if you blow up the fucking planet. At one point, Enel goes to the moon, and we see not only Enel, but a bunch of other little alien dudes just on the moon, breathing and having no issues being in fucking space. So do One Piece characters even really need to breathe when they get certain fruits? Like, is the reason Enel can go to space and breathe in space because he is a Logia user who is a lightning character, like he's made of lightning? And because lightning doesn't need oxygen, now Enel doesn't need oxygen? Is that how it works? Because we've never seen a Logia user fucking drown. So do they actually need to breathe? Like, because Crocodile is a sand user, does he actually need to drink water to survive since he's made of sand? I'm being way more like fan fiction-y theoretical in this case, but they give no explanation as to why Enel can breathe in space. And we see him travel into space, no problem breathing just fine. And we see him on the moon, no problem breathing, despite the fact that moons generally don't have atmospheres. So there has to be a reason. Anyway, point is, even if they blow up the planet, it's possible that there are several Logia users or other types of devil fruit users who might not even need oxygen, so they haven't even successfully killed them all. And won't be able to as long as they're made out of sand or ice or magma or fucking lightning or whatever the Logia thing is. Oh, imagine them fighting Caribou. Okay, so Caribou is super weak in the One Piece world because if you have Haki, you can hit Logia users, and Caribou usually gets one shot. But Caribou's power as a Logia user is that he has a swamp fruit and he can turn into a swamp, which for whatever reason allows him to absorb an infinite amount of shit into his body and trap them in sort of this other swamp dimension type thing. If a bunch of Viltrumites come up and try to punch him, they don't have the hockey necessary to harm him, but he could actually possibly get them stuck inside of him, so he might actually be one of the most dangerous people. Because while most of the One Piece world can't actually kill them, he has a way around that by just trapping them in this other dimension. So he might actually be like a secret weapon they can use. It is possible, however, that the Viltrumites are too strong to be sucked in, and it's just gonna like pull their arm out and it'll be fine. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you can work something out. Maybe like you can have stronger characters chuck the Viltrumites, or at least the weaker Viltrumites, into Caribou and like into his little other dimension, and that could be like some way they get rid of him. And then Caribou just has like thousands of fucking Viltrumites in this dimension, just living in his little infinite swamp dimension. Just a thought. But still, overall, One Piece loses. Next up on the list, we have Planet Namek from Dragon Ball Z. More specifically, like the Namek Saga, or I guess before the Namek Saga. Because we're not going to have Frieza here, we're not going to have Vegeta, Goku's not on his way. This is going to be prior to Frieza invading the planet. It's just going to be Planet Namek. And I really like this one because I feel like Planet Namek is a planet and the Namekians are a species that I think would fit really, really well into the Invincible universe. So what can I say about Planet Namek? Well, it's a planet that is not particularly highly populated. It's covered in a bunch of weird green people who can like stretch their arms and they can grow limbs and they have antennas and they got like, I guess, kind of sort of like healing abilities, kind of. Is it magic? I don't think it's magic. They kind of sort of have healing abilities and they don't have any women and they lay eggs. Welcome to Planet Namek. So just to give you guys a peek behind the curtain, anytime you try to make these sort of versus type things, even though it's not really a versus, would you survive, whatever, these kind of fight videos, and you want to put a Dragon Ball Z character into it, you can guarantee there's going to be 50,000 fucking people lining up down the street to tell you how fucking wrong you are and how actually, if you look at it in a certain sort of way and tilt your head and squint your eyes and massage your balls in a certain kind of way, actually, the characters of Dragon Ball Z are the most powerful fucking thing in all of fiction. And then you have to say those people are wrong, and then they start insulting you and calling you all sorts of horrible names, making you feel bad about yourself and lowering your self-esteem. And then you start going to the gym and you get really fucking buff and start taking your life and personal goals more seriously and build yourself up to being a person of substance and grace who then goes off, flirts with their mom, fucks their mom, and then go up to them and be like, what do you got to say now? I fucked your mom. There's not a whole lot you could say to someone who fucked your mom. They beat you. It doesn't matter what it is. They beat you at life. And anytime these people come around saying shit like Goku slaps, you can then reply by saying, I slapped your mom's ass as she was bent over your childhood bed. Kind of ends the conversation right there. So how powerful are the Namekians? Many fans of Dragon Ball Z are going to say that Namekians are these planet-busting, incredibly all-powerful... Come on, guys, can we stop doing this? No! At this point in the series, there aren't that many planet busters. The only person that we see actually capable of blowing up a planet this early in the series is Frieza himself. Vegeta blowing up the planet before he arrives at Earth is only an anime thing and not canonical. We see the absolute most powerful Namekians in that story struggling against even Frieza's weakest dudes. I don't think that any reasonable person can say that any of these Namekians are planetary. There are some really powerful ones. They have a whole warrior class and characters like Nail, who do stand up and try to fight against Frieza and his forces, but it just doesn't do a whole lot. And it sounds really weird because I feel like just the fact that it's Dragon Ball Z means that we should automatically assume that these characters are like really monstrously powerful. But when you really look at the Nameks and what they can do, nobody is really shown to do anything super impressive. All right, so let's go over this because I know people are going to be annoyed by what I'm saying, right? So at the beginning of the series, very early on, Master Roshi destroys the moon. And then the first person we see that's capable of destroying a planet is Frieza. Now, what people like to argue is that all the way back, even characters like Raditz and Vegeta and shit at the beginning of Saiyan arc are capable of destroying a planet. They just don't do it. And the reasons they give are fucking terrible. The truth is that the amount of force necessary to destroy a moon as compared to destroying a planet are so fucking unfathomable, I don't think you guys really realize what y'all are saying. The Earth is 65 times the volume of the moon. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that means you would just need 65 times the force, characters like Nail definitely have that. You would not need Frieza in order to do that. No, that's not the case. because they're not made out of the same materials. While Earth is 65 times the volume, it's actually 90 times the mass because it's made out of mostly metal, whereas the moon is made out of mostly rock. When you look at the makeup of the moon, it's made out of mostly soft rock, soft metals like magnesium, aluminum, things like that. It has a liquid layer that Earth doesn't have, and it has a very, very small iron core that's about 15% of the size of the moon as a whole. That's what we believe it's made out of, theoretically. If you go over to the Earth, just the core of the Earth that is almost the size of the moon is just a solid chunk of fucking iron. And that core is about 1/70th the size of the planet as a whole. Just destroying that core would be hundreds, if not thousands of times more force to destroy than it would the entirety of the moon. And if you don't believe me, think about it this way. Let's say I give you a rock, and then I give you a hammer, and I say, bash that rock with a hammer. And you bash it, and the fucking rock splits into 1,000 pieces, right? Cool. Now I give you the exact same size object, but instead this time it's made of solid iron. Now hit it with that hammer. You're not gonna put a fucking scratch on it. Now imagine I increase the size of that piece of iron to 65 times the size of that initial rock I gave you. Now you're not getting through that shit with a fucking jackhammer. You wouldn't break that shit if you hit it with a fucking car. Earth is made of some rock that's harder than the rock the moon is made out of, by the way, and tons and tons and tons of different layers of metal, everything from tungsten to iron to every other type of metal you could possibly think of. The force difference here is not even fucking comparable. And then y'all like to point to shit like King Piccolo said that he can destroy the world. So obviously he can destroy the world, and that's the place in the series where we got to a point where characters can blow up planets. Who gives a shit what King Piccolo said? Frieza said he was the strongest being in the entire universe, and we know that's not true because Boo, Beerus, and Whis are all in the universe stronger than him, and he was aware of their existence. So y'all gonna take the bragging of an egotistical villain as a factual statement towards how strong he is? Y'all don't do that for any other universe. Why do y'all do that for Dragon Ball? In fact, the people who say that King Piccolo saying that he can destroy the world means that he can destroy the world are the same people who say that Cell saying he can destroy the solar system is actually massively less than he's capable of, and you really shouldn't listen to him because if you look at all of this bullshit math, yeah, they just pick which ones they want to choose that are right and pick which ones they don't want to try and force the numbers as high as they can get. I've heard all sorts of different bullshit arguments. The Earth in Dragon Ball is like 3 times the size of our normal Earth. No, it's not. The moon of Dragon Ball is like way, it's like the size of Earth itself. No, it's not. The universe of Dragon Ball is so much bigger. The cosmology is bigger than our real, no, it's not. There's no evidence. The way that y'all get this evidence is so forced. Y'all will take the Earth like drawn on a panel and then measure it across and compare it to the moon and look at the difference and like, oh look, see the moon's bigger in this drawn picture than it is in reality. So obviously, no shit, it's a fucking drawing. The moon, the Earth, character heights, it all constantly shifts and changes from panel to panel based on what Akira Toriyama or whoever's drawing it at the time thinks looks the best in that moment. This is another one of those scaling bullshit that annoys people. And specifically when it comes to Dragon Ball scalers, they go farther than most other groups when it comes to this kind of stuff. Bend over fucking backwards to come up with shit that's not even evidence. And then you have the Dragon Ball fans who use power levels and try to use that as evidence. When Roshi blew up the moon, he only had a power level of whatever the fuck, couple hundred. By the time he gets to Namek, Nail has a power level of 42,000. He should be hundreds of thousands of times more powerful than Roshi at that blah blah blah. Toriyama himself has stated that he only introduced power levels to show the audience how bullshit and pointless the power levels were. So why do y'all die by that shit? Toriyama didn't care about it. Why do you guys? The power levels don't matter. That's what Toriyama said. You constantly had characters with lower power levels overcoming characters with higher power levels, and characters with higher power levels overestimating what they can do and getting their asses beat. That was the whole point of the power levels. If you look at Dragon Ball like you look at any other series about how powerful the characters are, you have Roshi blowing up a moon and then Frieza blowing up a planet, and anybody in between there has no evidence of being able to do that until they get past Frieza. The most powerful person on Namek is Nail. Not a single Namekian who lived on planet Namek before the start of the Frieza saga can destroy a planet. There's no evidence whatsoever. And all your bullshit math that you're just making up on the spot based on drawing sizes and other ridiculous shit that Toriyama wasn't even thinking about when he wrote the story is completely irrelevant. So when we look at all of this, how strong can we say the Namekians actually are? I don't know, maybe like country? I don't know. It's kind of unclear. Point is that they can't beat the Viltrumites. That's the main point. Like maybe best case scenario, you can say that the absolute strongest Namekians might be able to take out low to mid tier Viltrumites. Just because Nail kind of sort of attempts to fight against some of Frieza's higher up henchmen. He doesn't do a very good job. Like he doesn't beat anybody. Oh, okay, they're not winning. The only reason why I put them this high up on the list is for really one reason only. the Namekian Dragon Balls. The only way that I see them possibly winning against the Viltrumites is that possibly they can collect all of the Dragon Balls, summon the dragon, and make some kind of wish that will allow them to overcome the Viltrumites. Otherwise, they're not going to win. Not only are they not as powerful as the Viltrumites, even their strongest warriors, they don't have as many warriors. There aren't that many people on planet Namek to begin with, but even if it was completely like covered, they have a warrior class and then like a not warrior class. Viltrumites are all warriors, and their species covers across an entire galaxy. They outnumber them significantly, and on average, they're way more powerful than the Namekians are. So yeah, they would have to get the Dragon Balls and make some kind of wish. What that wish would be, we don't know. We know that Vegeta wanted to wish for immortality. We know that it's possible for them to just wish for more power. Possibly they can just wish for all of them to just disappear. The only argument that you can really make against this is that the Namekians weren't able to wish Frieza away when Frieza showed up, and they weren't able to make any sort of wish against Frieza, so why would they be able to wish against the Viltrumites? And my argument to that would be because Frieza went to Namek for the sole purpose of finding the Dragon Balls, so it makes sense that once he got there, he would find them pretty quickly and possibly didn't give the Namekians enough time to make the wish. If the Viltrumites are there to conquer, it's very possible they don't know anything about the Dragon Balls, and possibly the Namekians might have enough time to actually get them together and make a wish that can overcome the Viltrumites. So can the Namekians actually overcome the Viltrumites? Yes. The only way they can do it, though, is through the Dragon Balls, and they have to basically allow the Viltrumites to slaughter their people for a really long time until they can get all of the Dragon Balls together and make the wish they need to make. And then boom, they win. Not exactly the most interesting or badass win for them, but you know, a win's a win. Last up, but certainly not least, we have Earth from Top Cow Comics. Now, I'm not going to waste your time when it comes to this one. I know 99.99999% of characters in Top Cow are not going to be able to do shit to the Viltrumites. There's a couple here and there that can, like there's a character named Velocity whose power is super speed, but they take her speed super fucking realistically. And basically how it works is when she moves fast, she creates a significant amount of force to the point that she actually hasn't run to the full speed that she can, because if she even tries to, she'll blow up the planet. So someone like her who can create that amount of force should be able to take on pretty much any Viltrumite in a 1v1 fight without any real issues, but for the most part, the vast majority of heroes aren't going to be able to do all that much to Viltrumites. The main threat that the Top Cow universe poses, and the reason why they completely fucking throttle all the Viltrumites, is really just 3 characters, and that would be the Darkness, Witchblade, and the Angelus. Any one of these characters can solo the entire Invincible universe without even really struggling at all. I mean, the absolute weakest of these 3, Angelus, is still half of the power that created the entire universe. At one point, she traveled from one end of the universe to the other, just straight up mowing through several planets on her way there, and she did it in like a split second. I think it said she traveled from one end to the other in less than a nanosecond. I don't know how fast that is. I'm not even going to try to calculate it, but it's really fucking fast. Again, she's the weakest of the 3. She's actually been defeated by the Darkness on several occasions, as well as the Witchblade. The next strongest one is going to be the Witchblade, which is the most powerful weapon in the entire Top Cow universe, and was created when the Darkness and Angelus came together and had sex, and they created the Witchblade. It's a weird universe. Now, if you read Invincible, you might be thinking, well, in the actual Invincible comics, Witchblade actually does show up in one of the issues, and she gets into a fight with an alternate version of Mark. She defeats Mark and kills him, but almost dies herself, so obviously she's not all that powerful. Well, I have a couple of issues with this. For one, that issue was an alternate reality version of the Invincible universe, and was written by Robert Kirkman, and used Witchblade as essentially like a special guest character. It's not canon to the Witchblade comics. There's nowhere in the Witchblade comics where she talks about leaving her universe and going into the Invincible universe and doing all this shit. Also, I'm not entirely sure where in the timeline that would even take place at, as it depends on what version of Witchblade you're fighting against. If you're fighting against Witchblade within her like first year of being Witchblade, yeah, she's really weak. She can only like maybe destroy a car or a small building. But if you go later on in the Witchblade comics where she's like mastered the Witchblade, she's capable of surviving complete universal erasure, and at one point in the comics defeated the entirety of the Justice League on accident while she was asleep. This would include completely mind-fucking Martian Manhunter, possessing the body of Wonder Woman, and one-shotting 2 Green Lanterns, Aquaman, and Superman. At one point in that story, the Witchblade actually just leaves Sarah Pazzini while she's sleeping and jumps onto Wonder Woman, controlling her, and then just wiping out members of the Justice League. And Lex Luthor, someone who's, you know, pretty smart guy, actually said this is a good thing, because in that storyline he wanted to take the Witchblade, and he said that it being on Wonder Woman is actually less dangerous to them than it being on Sarah Pazzini, because Sarah Pazzini having the Witchblade is far stronger than Wonder Woman having the Witchblade, despite the fact that Wonder Woman clearly had a massive power up because she was able to do shit like one-shot Superman. And overall, it's just shown in that story that Sarah Pazzini with the Witchblade is more powerful than the entirety of the Justice League, even when she's fucking asleep. Like, the power levels here are not even close. There's a bunch of other stuff they say in that storyline, like they say that with the Witchblade being introduced to the DC universe, it is now the strongest weapon that exists there, despite the fact that we know things like nth metal and other stuff also exist there. And then by the end of the story, when Sarah Pazzini wakes up, she approaches Wonder Woman, who is possessed by the Witchblade and like attacking a bunch of people, and Sarah Pazzini just instantly rips the fucking Witchblade off her body, despite the fact that the Witchblade doesn't want to leave her body, and takes it back and wields it again because she's the only person who has the physical willpower to actually control it. The Witchblade basically gives the wielder the power to do whatever they want as long as they can imagine it. Now, lucky for whoever's fighting against Sarah, who is the person who actually, you know, wields the Witchblade, she doesn't have very good of an imagination. Like, most of the time she just does like fire attacks or creates armor or like fights with like metal tentacles and shit. But as the series goes on, she does get a little more creative with it, and she starts doing some pretty intense shit that nobody in the Invincible universe can possibly fight against. And then by the time you get over to the strongest person in the Top Cow universe, who is the Darkness, there isn't even a conversation to be had. The Darkness created the entire Top Cow universe. He is the embodiment of chaos and creation. He is the darkness itself. The darkness in the Top Cow universe is equivalent to that of nothing. If you erase every concept that can possibly exist, including darkness and everything else, the darkness will still be alive because the darkness is nothing, and it would recreate itself from nothing and then recreate everything else, or create something totally fucking new. If you've only played the Darkness games and you're saying like, well, wait a second, the Darkness is just like this dude who has like black tentacles and creates black holes and shit, and if you shine some light on him, his powers don't work. That's like very, very early the Darkness powers. He becomes way stronger than that. At one point, he erases the entire universe and recreates it in his image the way he wants it to be. And when he recreates it, he creates stars and the sun and everything else, and like he has to recreate the concept of light, basically. So no, he is not weak to light, not anymore. He hasn't been in a very long time. In fact, in the games where you have Jackie Estacado, who is kind of possessed by the Darkness, who sort of wants him to do things, he's constantly fighting with it, that's not really a thing in the comics either. The Darkness is a living being, but it kind of just lets Jackie do whatever it wants. And at one point in the comics, Jackie completely supplants the Darkness. The Darkness doesn't even exist anymore, and Jackie just is the Darkness now. He is this sort of cosmic godlike being. So what's going to happen when the Viltrumites actually arrive at the Top Cow universe? Are they going to instantly be obliterated? No. Luckily for them, most of these characters aren't actually heroes or good guys even. They're pretty shitty. I mean, the Witchblade is, but Jackie Estacado is a selfish piece of shit and isn't a hero and doesn't really care about anybody. So he's really just going to ignore it for the most part until it affects him personally. When the Viltrumites arrive to the planet, they're going to start slaughtering most of the heroes and most of the people on Earth, with a couple heroes here and there that are going to be able to fight against them. The only one that's going to be a serious issue is the Witchblade, because she is actually a legitimate threat and a hero, but even her power is pretty limited to the shit around her. If you send millions of Viltrumites to the planet to take over, she's only going to be able to fight so many at a time. They won't be able to kill her, and she'll be able to kill them very casually, but she's never shown using power that affects like an entire universe like Jackie or the Angelus is. Her power just doesn't have that same range, so she's basically just going to be slaughtering them as quickly as she can slaughter them, basically. Eventually, I think the Angelus will get involved though, because the Angelus' whole thing is order. She kind of has this very angelic theme and these powers that are based on light. And the whole concept of her character is that she is the embodiment of order. She's the opposite of the Darkness, which is chaos. But the way she views order is very similar to the way Viltrumites view order. It's control. She actually wants to strip all people of their free will so they can serve her forever, and she can have the entire universe operate in the way that she wants to operate. She may even have some form of admiration for the Viltrumites. I don't think she'll join them because she always has to be in control, but that doesn't mean she's not gonna, respect the hustle. Once she sees that they're gonna start taking shit over and acquiring power that supplants hers, then she's gonna have an issue with it and she's gonna go after them. And if she goes after them, it's basically done. I don't see any way any Viltrumite, even all the Viltrumites together, are going to be able to defeat Angelus. At least not when she's at her most powerful. Her powers of creation are shown to be completely limitless. She can even create life, and the life she creates, she has complete dominion over. So if they send over 10 billion Viltrumites to the planet to take it over, she can create 100 billion, angel constructs that fly up and fight them, and she can make them as strong as she wants to make them, even stronger than all the Viltrumites, and completely overcompass and slaughter all of them very, very quickly. In fact, the darkness does something very similar to this to her people. At one point in the comics, Angelus makes 1,000,000 angels to attack Jackie, and Jackie in response creates so many darkness beings that they completely overtake her entire army and slaughter them all. And this was very early on in the series when both of these characters were way weaker than they are now. And I'm being pretty lenient right now. I mean, honestly, the Angelus should just be able to erase them all from existence. But if they somehow are capable of overtaking Angelus, they can't, but let's just say for a second they do, and they actually start taking over the planet and slaughtering people, Jackie will ignore it until it affects him. The moment it starts affecting him, and considering he is the mob boss of New York City and all that kind of stuff, they basically, if they touch New York City, it's going to be his problem. And when they do that, then he just erases them all. Or banishes them to the darkness universe where they have to be tortured forever, or like mutilates them in some way but keeps them alive so they can suffer just because he wants them to. Literally anything. Like, the darkness can do basically anything it wants to do. It's essentially the god of that world. So yeah, the Viltrumites can't win. They can't possibly take over the Top Cow universe as long as these three characters are there. And even if these three characters aren't there, there's still some characters that might be able to win, dependent. It's sort of up in the air. And if you're wondering, well, if it's so one-sided, why did I even choose this universe to put up against the Viltrumites? And that's mainly because the Viltrumites are like super cocky, you know? They're all about like, we're the strongest, and if you're strong, you don't deserve to live, and we're going to overtake everyone who's stronger. So sometimes it's just fun to take characters like that and throw them up against someone who completely fucking throttles them. Like, I just think it would be funny if you took Thrag and all these characters who only respect power and think that they're superior to everybody else, and then they come across someone like the Darkness, where all of their power and all of their might across the entire universe means absolutely nothing. Like, you might as well send a fucking mouse in his room to kill him. It would be the same threat level. It would just funny to see how Thrag would react when he comes across real power. But that's going to be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?